Okay, so I want to welcome everyone to episode 5, season 3 of xEssentials. Tonight's topic is an exciting one. We've got someone who's no longer a newbie, so he's going to be presenting on what I learned my first year doing a light show. Justin McCown, you have the floor, Justin.
Well, thank you, Ed. First off, I just trying to get through some of these issues here. Was really hoping that this wasn't going to go like this, but for some reason this isn't working right. So let me see what's going on here. All right, we're just going to have to play it. So thank you for joining in. My name is Justin McCown. This presentation, what I learned my first year doing a light show. And the reason for this is I'd like to go over some of the notable stumbling blocks throughout my first year and hopefully help some of you rookies out to avoid those issues and have a more successful year. A little bit about myself. I've been in the telecommunications industry for the last couple decades. Prior to that, I was a network analyst at a jet engine manufacturer. So I know a little bit about low voltage wiring and some of the antiquated yet still useful fundamentals of networking. So overall, this knowledge gave me the leg up to dive into the deep end of the pool on my first year, and that's kind of what happened. So what was my itch? What started everything? So my high school buddy, Drew Hutchinson, he sent me this video in October of 2018. And it was Stranger Things. He put it right on my phone, and I saw it, and I'm like, how did you do that? What is this? And he just responded, X lights. That's all he would tell me. He wouldn't tell me anything more than that. So of course I had to start searching what's X lights. I didn't know anything about lore. I come from this. This was Christmas 2018 at my house. This is all incandescent lighting, some inflatables, and that's about it. Here's Christmas 2019. It's a full pixel display with some inflatables. We love the inflatables, but so how did I get there? I don't know why this isn't working for me. I'm sorry. But all right, so Christmas 2018. Here, this is the side of my house facing towards the street. I've got a corner lot. And then Christmas 2019. And then Christmas 2018 near the driveway. And Christmas 2019, all pixel. So budget, what did I plan my initial budget to be? What did I really end up spending? What did I waste money on? And what did I think I should have spent more money on? Time management. Where did I waste my time and where did I gain time? What materials were available local to me and what wasn't? What props were more difficult to assemble and what wasn't? Don't assume, like I did, that your family and friends are interested in helping you as much as you think they are. And finally, the only person who knows what you didn't do is you. So in other words, don't stress out. Safety. What did I do right and what did I do wrong? Did I end up burning down the house, or did I injure anyone? And finally, storage. I didn't think about storing any of this. I guess I thought it all fit into a small closet inside my garage, like last year's display. So here was my initial budget. I figured I'd spend $2,500 in total. That very center picture is the Florida group buy that I did with Tom Stallings and a bunch of other people. I ended up just in that group buy spending $2,538. And then right above it is an order to RGB Man for another couple thousand pixels. And then on the left-hand side, there are 4 purchases through Boscoyo for props, and that was a little over $1,000. So in total, for just the pixels, the props, and the wire, I spent $4,396, or $96.98. That doesn't include anything else, such as controllers, the ASAP Stage 2 pole, the portable hole, the overkill metal topper, fasteners, heat shrink tubing, heat shrink solder tubes, scotch locks, the 3D printer, et cetera, et cetera. So if you wanted to know what a $2,500 budget looks like, that was the Florida group buy. That's what I actually ordered and received, sitting there. And each of those electrostatic bags are 400 pixels each. So there's 8,900 pixels sitting there, 10 watt floodlights, and 10 pixel strips for the 10 arches that I was going to make. So everybody I talked to agrees. Pixel cost for when you're starting out, it's about $1 a pixel. The most expensive thing that you buy is not the pixels, it's not the controllers, it's everything else. It's you going to all the big box stores and running back and forth. And so for Ace Hardware, I went there, and that was the best local box store to purchase screws, washers, bolts, and nuts. The Home Depot, that was a great place to purchase EMT and PVC pipe. eBay, that's where I got all of my generic power supplies, my HP server supplies that you guys are probably familiar with on the forums. The little $5 FM transmitter. Amazon, I picked up PG glands, anchors, turnbuckles for the Megatree, snap hooks for the Megatree, Romex, outlet boxes, Ethernet patch cables, conduit hangers. So those are really good storefronts or stores, online stores to grab some of your materials from. So budget. What did I waste money on? And the biggest one is probably Chromatrim. I bought 80 pieces for $232 and ended up using around 30 of them. In retrospect, buying a 3D printer made my life easier, but the printer hasn't paid for itself. I've spent so far around $450 with supplies over the last year. And purchasing used audio equipment on Facebook Marketplace didn't work out. I think I ended up purchasing just bad audio equipment. So what should I have spent my money on? I should have bought some more floodlights to use inside my inflatables, because as you're going to see later in the video, they're kind of dark and hard to see, especially when all the pixels are taken over. And quality audio speakers and amp, because even though I have an FM transmitter for the house, the audio that I had for the house, I had these little $15 boom boxes that I found on Amazon for, you know, real cheap, and used those. All right, so the real question here that everybody's probably asking is, you know, how much did you really spend? And I spent $11,000 for my first year. And what can I say about that? I can say if you're sitting down and you're thinking about, you know, going all in like I did, try to take it a little bit slower than I did, because what am I going to do for 2020? You know, I got almost 14,000 pixels and props. How am I going to give the wow factor for next year? And so that is something to consider before going all in. All right, so time management. I wanted to have some test targets to keep me motivated and point out any obstacles or issues. So I did 4 shows for 2019. Those 4 shows were July 4th, Trunk or Treat, Halloween, and Christmas. And because I planned ahead with these target dates, I didn't have any issues with vendor delays, and I didn't panic and have to scramble like some of the other people did. So get your orders in. It's already March 4th. So I want to show you guys how exciting this really was for my first year. I was so excited. I had goosebumps, and I want to show you guys a 1-minute video.
It's America, baby. Check out the house, y'alls. What's up? Yeah, baby. Yeah. Love it, man. Oh yeah, googly moogly, baby. America.
All right, so that was awesome. I loved it. I loved having, you know, my house light up like it was on a show of Cops or something like that, you know. And but out of that, I had major problems. I had issues with my floodlights. They were, you know, well, they weren't casting shadows, but the AC unit on the side was casting shadows on the wall. The roof line, I had some pixels going to the left and the rest going to the right. I had static on my FM transmitter. But by having a test show on July 4th, it identified 4 issues that I needed to solve. So I want to show you guys another video. Well, it's the same video, but it's cut down to 22 seconds. So you guys can see the issues that I had here. And one of the other things I had was
America.
The other issue that I had was my stars. Take a look here. If you watch here, see how the roof line is, everything is flowing to the left, and look at that wonky star there. And then behind the wonky star, notice the floodlights not hitting that section of the wall. And now as we round the corner, notice the roof line, it's going to the right instead of going to the left. So this whole side of the house is going to the right, and the other side's going to the left. And again, the stars are wonky. They're not looking right. So these are all little issues that I picked up for July 4th, and I wrote them down. I knew that I had to start working on that. And, half the year's already over. So Trunk or Treat, this was my second show I decided to do. Trunk or Treat is it's a church-based event that we have here where people show up with their vehicles and everybody gets together and kind of dresses the trunks of their cars up. So I wanted to have something special, to kind of knock it out of the park. So for that, I created a Jeep Matrix, a couple singing faces, and my first arch. So Naomi, my 13-year-old, helped me out with that arch.
May the odds be ever in your favor.
So there's my little 13-year-old horsing around, man. I'll tell you what, that really brings joy to my heart seeing stuff like that. It's really, it was really cool to bring them into my hobby and see the joy that comes out in them.
May the odds be ever in your favor.
All right, so here's the Trunk or Treat. Here's our Jeep, and it's all dressed up, ready to rock. Again, I did the Matrix, singing faces, and an arch. And here's what that looked like. One of the things, the problems that I found out right away was on the top right where those people are walking down the sidewalk, there's a PA speaker. It was drowning out the music that I had coming out of the Jeep. So one of the other issues things that I wanted to learn was I wanted to learn xScheduler, because I was using FPP as my show player on a Raspberry Pi in the garage. And so I wanted to learn using it on a computer just to kind of get a little more well-rounded. So that is running from Windows-based PC with xScheduler coming out with a network cable to a controller that's sitting inside the Jeep. So if you look there, you'll see that the matrix itself, it's a 2-inch spacing on pixels. That's really good for like 8-bit graphics, but it's not going to be very good for high resolution graphics. So if you're looking to do like high resolution graphics on 2-inch spacing at like 30 feet away, it's not going to work too good, especially if you're talking Megatree or a matrix on your house. But if you're much further away, it should be fine. Here's Gina and I dressed up, rocking and rolling at our Trunk or Treat. I can't even begin to tell you how many people walked up and touched my udders. It was utterly unbelievable. So here we go, Halloween. This is my third show for 2018 or 2019. And this is where I want to integrate roof props, window outlines, yard props, and vertical matrices. So if you look, this is about 1.5 minutes, but if you look at the window outlines, notice how my horizontals and my verticals aren't right. So I have some submodeling issues there that I have to work to resolve. Also, I don't know if you know this or not, but pixel strips have a color order of BRG. They are not color order RGB. So that means that when you think it's red, it's really blue, and so on and so forth. So that's an issue that's going to rear its ugly head all the way into December for me. It's been it was a real problem, and the reason why is I didn't understand that you could go into the controller and set up what are called virtual strings. And to be honest, I'm not that good at it still. So playing with that was a problem. Also, the vertical matrices, you'll see how they're not lining up properly. It's a group effects issue that I had to work on. And the tombstones themselves, notice they're the same color as the arches. That's because I had them chained onto the arches. So they were inheriting whatever the color order was for those as well. And as we go around the house here, you're going to see the bathroom window, which is the window in the center. It starts acting wonky. See how it just lights up. And, you know, these are just little things that you pick up when you have these all these tests, you know, to get you ready for the big time. All right, so Christmas time's upon us, and this is my 4th show of the year. And at this point, it's time to bring in some other things in the mix. One of them is a P5 matrix. Of course, my mega tree, which is 32 by 100 at 180 degrees. Initially, because I've got a corner lot, I wanted to go with a 270 degree radius, but the distance between the pixel strips at the bottom, I should say the Boscoyo strips at the bottom of the mega tree, made the graphics not defined enough. So we ended up going to 180 degrees. This year, we're going to upgrade to 48 by 100 and go to 270 degrees on the tree. So some of the other things that I wanted to add at this point were some Tune 2 signs. That way people actually knew I was playing music so that they could listen to it in their car. There's a lot going on there. And then finally, I was tired of wrapping power cords and Ethernet cords around my house. So I wanted to add some outlets to both sides of the house and some Cat5 outlets. So we'll talk about that too. But this is how Christmas was looking. Probably, I don't know, probably December 10th is how everything looked here. And if you pay attention to these evil little arches, you're going to see that the color order is wrong. One of the other issues that I had was on the large Boscoyo trees, they are 85 pixels, and the small ones, well, they're 85 pixels because they're 180 degrees, and my small Boscoyo trees are 99 pixels. So I had inadvertently in xLights set one of the larger Boscoyo trees to 99 pixels instead of 85. And that screwed up some channel overlapping that I noticed late in the year. So I went into xLights and I'm like, oh, I got you now. And I fixed it. And so I uploaded it to the controller and everything's fine and dandy. And, you know, I got the show playing outside, but I didn't go outside. So about 2 hours later, I walk out the door and the mega tree is not even working, and half my props are frozen or doing something wonky. And it turned out I did not update all of my FSEQ files. So that was a real bummer for me. It was very embarrassing, and to think, you know, some people had shown up, probably got word of mouth that I had a pretty cool show going, and they got to see a bunch of junk. So I was pretty bummed out about that. So be very careful about doing anything on the fly. All right, so this is part of what I was just talking about where stuff wasn't working properly. If you look up on the roof line, there are 6 snowflakes, and the first and the fourth in a row are off. And then the candy canes, which are on the sides of the house, half of them are off. And then the bathroom window, a portion of it is off. So there's just really weird stuff going on there. And so you got to be really careful about what you do. So this was right after Halloween when I decided I wanted to install Cat 5 and 20 amp circuit on both sides of the house. So I cut out all my Ethernet cabling and threw it away. And then I decided to put on the white suit because I've got a very tiny attic. My house is very small. It's only 1,470 square feet. The attic space is maybe 2 foot tall. So I'm up there crawling around in October in South Florida. It's hot. So this is the end result. Here's me running wire. And so if you look at the bottom left picture, that is GFI breaker outlets. I've got those on both sides of the house now, so I can plug my controllers in right there and not have to trip over wires. And then I also labeled the Cat 5 outlets on both sides of the house. So they're 1 through 6 on that bottom center picture, and the top center picture, they're 7 through 12. And then on the picture on the far right is a patch panel that's got 1 through 12. So they are numbered properly, and then I can plug them right into my F48 and I know what's what. All right, so the time has come. I've crossed my T's and dotted my I's. I'm hoping my show is bulletproof, just like this guy. So if we take a look at this video, it's about 2 minutes long, but notice the arches. They're now the correct color order. I finally figured that out. I think this was December 22nd when I finally got that fixed. And notice the snowflakes, they're on point, they're working properly. I've got a wreath there with a bow in the center of the front of the house, and it is submodeled with a bow. So you'll see in a moment it should be working properly when this group effect ends. There's the mega tree with a 36-inch star 5-ring at the top. And let me tell you something. I cried when I saw that. When I got this thing finally working right, I really cried. And it really moved me. It was really cool to be able to do this and accomplish this in a single year. And it was because of the people around me. And I'll talk more about that at the end of the presentation. But look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that. All the submodeling on the windows is working properly. All my horizontals and verticals are working properly. Except for you, Mr. Baby Shark. You are not working properly. But we're going to talk about Baby Shark too. All right, so here I am in the garage grinding out the slip ring for my mega tree. Now you have 1 of 2 options here. You can purchase one from Boscoyo, which I highly recommend, because that is a real pain in the butt doing yourself. So I do not recommend doing it yourself. Here's the Baby Shark. This was probably the biggest time waster of 2019 for me. I won the Baby Shark at the Florida Mini in 2019, and I came home and nobody had a wire mapping for it. So I figured, hey, I got to do everything else this year. Why not add wire mapping and a singing shark to my list of things to do? So I added the shark and wire mapped it myself. And then Gina wanted to paint it. So Gina painted it on the far left. That's our first painting of the Baby Shark. Got it all done and then realized, oh crap, we did not paint the mouth correctly onto the Baby Shark. So then we had to repaint the Baby Shark in the center. And of course, look at his mouth movement. His mouth movement is jacked up. And it was not until January the 2nd of 2020 did I finally fix Baby Shark, where he finally sung correctly and his mouth wasn't all jacked up. So do I have any regrets? No regrets, everybody. That was, it was a crazy year. I spent way too much money, but at the end of it, I loved every second of it. I loved being involved with the community, meeting new friends, and pulling what's left of my hair out. So let's talk about safety, because I almost died. I'm not kidding. I literally almost died. So Florida weather, it's like that. This is Hurricane Dorian, and that little red arrow is my house. And Sub Rob lives 8 minutes north of me, so his house is there too. Thankfully, this was like August 28th, so I did not have my Halloween display out. But that's just to show you what kind of weather we had for 2019. So this is my mega tree, and during the day, and it's quite a beast. To the soffit of my roof on my house, it's 8 foot. So that sucker is probably 21 feet in the air. So what can happen? If you don't take care of this mega tree, it could fall on the people sitting there watching your show. And nobody wants that. That mega tree probably weighs in excess of 350 pounds. I've got an overkill topper on it that's 1/4 inch steel. It'll come down at like an axe blade. So be very careful and diligent about what you're doing with that mega tree. So we had 40-mile-an-hour winds, and it knocked some of my snowflakes down. I had 10-pound sandbags on them that I created, or that I made, because trying to buy reusable sandbags, they're stupid expensive. So I'll include a link at the end to show you a YouTube video on how to make your own for about $3. I'm going to show you guys what kind of wind I had for 2019. So that wind really had me worried so much. Let me go back to it. That I was standing on this side of the tree, and the wind was coming from the right to the left, and I already took down all my snowflakes. If you look on the roof, they're gone. So I took them all down, and I told Gina, I said, I need your help. Help me out with this mega tree. She was actually a little irritated with me. She wanted to leave and go do something. And I said, just give me a hand with this. So I lowered the mega tree about, 6 or 8 feet. And I thought it was stable enough. And I started cutting all the guy wires and all the tethers. And at that point, the wind changed direction, and it changed from east to west and caught the star. And the star acted like a sail, and it pulled the mega tree over. And I've got my back against the mega tree, so I'm bent down, cutting free a tether or a down guy or a guy wire from an anchor, and I hear, Justin, Justin, Justin. And I turn, and the mega tree is coming straight for me. So I know how much this thing weighs because I put it up. So I can either run towards it and try and brace it, and save all those hundreds of dollars I have on that mega tree, or I can step aside. And you know how things run slow in real life, but in your head they run really fast. So I just decided it wasn't worth it, and so I sidestepped it. And I was really embarrassed, about the whole thing because of the type of work I'm in. I deal with telephone poles all the time, so I know the dangers of them. And I was really irresponsible that day. And so I'm going to show you a few little slides of what happened to the mega tree. Now, that doesn't look like much. That's a Koros star. No big deal there. But that's where the topper, the overkill metal topper, went into the ground. And the reason why it went into the ground is because of my negligence. I don't know what to say. I made a mistake, and that should have been my head right there. And if it wasn't for Gina being out there, I'd be a statistic, and you guys would be talking about that dummy in South Florida that got killed by his megatree. So be very careful. This is what I'm talking about with the overkill topper. You can see the dirt collected at the bottom of that. And if that would have hit me anywhere in the upper torso to head, I'd be really hurt at the very least, but probably dead. All right, enough of that. So this is my tree and how I had it built. And I think next year I'm going to change that up. If you see here, I've got 6 tethers coming off of the portable hole. And then here's a blow up of it. And I've got it anchored down pretty well on the ring. But then in the top center here, you can see I've got bungee cords wrapped around it. It's because I've got moles in the soil, and also it rained pretty bad this year, so I had really wet soil, so it was really hard keeping that stuck to the ground. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this. This is Sam Rob's tree, and what he's got here are 2x8s crisscrossed across his portable hole, and then he's got strapped down, and then he's also got the mega tree base strapped down with cable straps, or pipe straps rather, so it can't move. So I think that's probably a more structurally sound base for my yard. So I think that's what I'm going to do this year. All right, so storage. Did you even think about storage? Because I didn't, and it really caught me off guard. I didn't think it'd take any room to store this stuff. I figured I'd just put it in the same old closet I keep all my other stuff in. But this is December 22nd, 2018. I figured, hey, let me clean out the garage. Let me get ready, because I'm going to start building some controllers and wiring up some props, and I want to be ready to rumble. So I got me a new workstation, made it all pretty, put all my tools on it, started collecting some material, got some piping for my window outlines, my roof outline, and my mega tree. Started putting stuff together, started burning in pixels. To be honest with you, I don't burn in pixels anymore. I just plug them in and see if they work. But at this time I was doing like an hour or 2 hour burn in to see if they worked. And they did. And then I start saying, hey, where am I going to put all this stuff? I got 100 foot of the McMaster's 2-inch HDP tubing and a bunch of props already with the pixels pushed in them. And I'm literally running out of room. I have no idea what I'm going to do. Here's 32 by 100 strips for the mega tree. So they're 2-inch spacing, 100 pixels, and there's 32 of those. They're 16 foot, 8 inches long. Here's some more of them. And then here's more stuff. Just what I need is more stuff in the garage. And then there's my poor thumb on the right-hand side. From Pushing Pixels, you'll get one of those. So I'm building more props. These are the bases for my snowflakes on the roof. James Blue came up with the design. You can change the angle on them and then just throw a screw in there to hold it, and then throw a sandbag on top of it. Although I recommend at least 2 now. So I got to figure out, where am I going to put all this stuff? So I figured, you know what? The best thing I can do is get it up off the ground. So there's 16 snowflakes on the right. Those are the 24-inch 48 pixel Boscoyo chroma flakes. And then in the picture on the left, that is where I keep all of my extensions. I have them in order of footage. So it's like 6 foot, 10 foot, 20 foot, and then stuff that's a little bit longer. So now find a place, any place. Where can I put this stuff? Where can I hide it? Where can I put it so it doesn't poke me when the lights are off? I found good use above the garage door since I don't actually use my garage door for anything. So I just started hanging my P5 matrix on it, one of my controllers, my test box, and then above on the railing of the garage door, that's where I put all my Megatree parts. So mission accomplished, February 12th, 2020. This is how my garage currently looks. I've got all of my Megatree strips hanging up on the ceiling. I've got all my props on a cart that I bought on Amazon for about 90 bucks. It's got casters on the bottom, so I can just wheel it out of my way. If I need to work on the left side of my garage, I wheel it to the right. If I need to be on the right, I wheel it to the left. So where do we go from here? Here are some different links that I've shared with you guys. The official X-Lite support group. This is where I got the majority of the information about how to run my show. The holiday think tank. This is where people come together and just really go from there for more advanced props and whatnot. Canaspader Christmas. It is run by Jeff Lacey. Jeff Lacey, he's on YouTube. This guy, if it wasn't for Jeff Lacey, I probably wouldn't have gotten as far as I did. He's a comic relief. He's a funny guy. I really enjoy him. I got to meet him at the Christmas Expo last year. He's a hoot. And of course, xEssentials videos. The video you're watching now can, in about a week, you can find it at X-Lights. The Facebook lighting group for your state. So for instance, for Florida, we have the Florida Enthusiast Lighting Group, the ELF group, or something of that nature. But each state has their own lighting group. So try and find yours on Facebook. Also, Facebook has a mentorship program in the official X-Lite support group. This is a cool little feature that kind of keeps you involved with somebody who's a guru in the hobby. And so, and of course, you know, find somebody that lives local to you. If you don't know anybody that you know is around you, just make a post. Hey, anybody know anybody in my area? Because there's nothing like getting your hands on the stuff, you know. I can't read a book and understand it, but if I can touch it, I can understand it. And finally, make your own sandbags. So here's a link for that if you want to make sandbags for about $3 a piece.
Okay, thank you, Justin. I really appreciate it. I could see a lot of the problems that I've encountered, as well as a lot of other folks encountered. I didn't realize your tree actually came down, so that was really good and
don't
helpful.
Share that with anybody.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, you're pretty transparent on all the issues that you had, and I think a lot of us can really commiserate with that. So, thank you very much.